When we made our new McDonald's Spicy Chicken McNuggets, you were praise hands emoji. Then we ran out, and you were screaming tears emoji. Now they're back, so you can be grinning face with sweat emoji. Order ahead on the McDonald's app. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
For a limited time at participating McDonald's.
Call 1-888-FARMERS to switch, and you could save an average of $470 on your auto insurance. That's a lot of money in just a few minutes. With savings like that, you could be lounging on an impractical amount of ornate and overpriced throw pillows you bought for your couch. But you won't, because you're better with money than that. That's why you're calling us in the first place. Call 1-888-FARMERS to get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Based on average nationwide annual savings survey data July to December 2020. Underwritten by Farmers Trucker Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate. Products not available in every state.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Our business needs vans, lots of vans, and Europcar meets our day-to-day needs all across the country, providing our company with the ideal selection of small, medium or large vans and trucks, and even bespoke commercial vehicles delivered directly to our premises.
From our 22 nationwide locations, Europcar supplies Irish businesses with an unrivaled range of vans, 4x4 pickups, 4-seater commercial SUVs and double cab tippers. With 9,000 vehicles in our fleet, there's no demand we can't fulfill. Europcar, moving your way.
Sometimes you've just got to get some quality me time. Like right now, when you get away for a few hours to Kildare Village, because we've got hundreds of new arrivals, including new boutiques like Sandro and Maj. Escape to Kildare Village and get front row ready for a new season with a new look and a new smile on your face. A little me time goes a long way at Kildare Village, where there's something extraordinary every day.
ChristopherMedia.net.
From Asthma Core Studios near Detroit, Michigan, it's Unregimented.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
And now, here are your hosts.
Welcome to Unregimented number 286. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Rich. We were probably the only four people not in the debate last night.
Four?
I said we were probably the only four not in the debate.
Four?
Yeah.
You want to take that again? Or
is there a mouse in your pocket? Are you drunk? Are you seeing two of you in the mirror?
Is one of the cats on?
Right. Yeah, I forgot how to count. So soon.
Okay.
Well, for a minute, I'm like, this debate. For a minute, I'm like, did we add somebody and then no one told anybody?
It's Jay. I'm counting. Jay's here in spirit.
Mm. Okay.
I didn't watch the debate, honestly. I said I wouldn't. I didn't think I would learn much, and I read some summaries of it, watched some highlights, and didn't really see anything too interesting.
Well, how much can you expect to learn about 20 people in 2 hours? Like, we couldn't have done this over 2 nights, maybe 10 a night?
No, that's what they're doing. There was 10 last night, and there's 10 tonight, as of Thursday when we're recording.
Oh, yeah.
I was not aware of
that. Even with 10 just in a 2-hour span, I think the top guy, Cory Booker, got the most time, and it was a little over 8.5 minutes, I believe. So, I mean, honestly, somebody should just compile all of one candidate's answers and put that together, and that might add up to something. I mean, because there were times where there was some crosstalk where people started, interjecting, but never in a way that resembled anything like a debate. It was just, trying to talk over each other.
That was my thing is with all of these bodies, it was just, if I want to watch 10 people talk over each other, I'll watch something on ESPN. Like, because that's really what I envisioned it turning into.
Like it's like with HSN, they have like the Hollywood Squares type of screen with everybody's head in it.
Did they really have that?
No, they didn't. I was just saying it was akin to that, where when you get people talking over each other.
It's like the beginning of the Brady Bunch.
They actually had good production value on this, which I thought was rather strange and unnecessary. There were whatever they call when they put the camera on the crane and swoop it over. They had one of those, and it would just swoop past all the candidates. You know what I'm talking about? Or
drone shot, the crane shot.
Well, no, it's not a drone. They're not flying a drone over them, but yeah.
The overhead shot.
Wait a minute. Did Iran come in and shoot the drone down and then run out? So it's a wire shot. It's like when Monday Night Football.
Is that what they call it? Yes,
yeah,
okay.
It's on a wire.
There you go.
So yeah.
Right. So you wouldn't get just straight on camera shot of the candidate answering the question. You'd also get it interspliced with these swooping wire shots, I guess.
A long ways away from the days of just the Kennedy and Nixon debate, just standing there staring into a camera talking.
Well, that was more like a debate than whatever these are now.
I feel like it's almost like hey, they shouldn't have called it a debate. They should have said it's a getting to know the candidates.
Pretty much.
It's like a fireside chat.
It's like a town hall where only one person asks all the questions.
Yeah. And, a lot of the questions seem to be geared at electability or certain segments of the population. There were some questions that I saw that were asked, like, you've supported this or that bill in the past, or maybe said something that a certain group found offensive. Why should they vote for you now? You might not have been as friendly to LGBTQ rights in the past, and now you've changed your mind. Convince us why LGBTQ voters should vote for you. And I mean, sure, it's an issue. It's an issue, but I don't see how you even get to that with 10 candidates in 2 hours. How do you not spend almost all that time talking about the things that affect most people in this country?
Or
for the economy, climate change, healthcare.
Or crazy thought here. What are your plans? Ooh. Let's say you get the job as president. What do you intend to do? Something like that.
Well, that's why Elizabeth Warren seems to come out very strong in this debate, because she actually talked about plans. And a lot of people would look at it as a joke. I have a plan for that. I think that's a strength, but she actually has plans. And
well, I agree with you there, because we said it before. Donald Trump is bad is not a campaign strategy. Didn't work in 2016. It ain't gonna work in 2020. Let's have some sort of plan. Maybe some policies. Something.
Yeah, and it seemed like the unsaid portion of a lot of the questions that were posed to these candidates was, can you beat Trump?
And what kind of question is that?
Well, it wasn't directly answered. It is a real question, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going to put forth a candidate, don't you want to put forth the one that's going to have the highest chance of beating the opponent? But
you would think.
But this is a primary debate. It's not even a primary debate, right? We're not even in the primaries.
Yeah, this is like
we're talking about it like it is a primary, but no, we're just jumping the gun with way too many candidates.
Yeah. This is the fight before the fight before the fight, quite honestly.
And, the best thing that could come out of this is an elimination round, but instead it seems to have just muddied the water even more.
Although I will tell you, I was telling you in our pre-show chat, it seems like depending what news source you read will tell you who won. But one thing I did read today that everyone seemed to have in common was Beto didn't seem to do so hot.
Beto looked nervous. I think it's because they wouldn't let him stand on the podium. No, Beto is like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah. Car ran fine. You're one of those guys. I heard he couldn't answer a question in English or Spanish.
He did answer. I don't know how he did it. How he did with the Spanish. I'm not fluent enough to tell you, but
there was a lot of shit talking on the internet today about everyone who wasn't of Hispanic descent that tried to speak Spanish last night.
Right. And there was some side eye from Cory Gardner when he was speaking Spanish.
If you don't speak it fluently, just don't even try, because it just comes off as pandering and you sound like a jackass. You sound like the whitest soccer mom trying to order at a Mexican restaurant.
This is where I need the Trump Puerto Rico drop.
Puerto Rico. Yeah, you sound like that. That's what you fucking sound like if you mispronounce shit when you're trying to pander to somebody. Like, seriously, if you're not fluent, let your policy do the talking, you know? How about that?
Because policy doesn't get you points with the woke crowd, Rich.
I know, the woke flakes, they have to be sated, I know.
So I guess there's another one tonight. So, good times. We will know much. We will know nothing more about 10 more candidates 24 hours from now.
Who's left who's left to hear from?
Bernie.
Was Uncle Joe out last night?
And yeah, Joe Biden and 8 other people.
Oh boy, they put Biden and Bernie on the same debate, huh?
I'm kind of shocked it wasn't like Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, Beto O'Rourke, Bernie, Uncle Joe, and then they're like, okay, so we're going to have 5 on this debate and 15 that on this debate, so you don't really have to watch that second debate if you don't want to. I'm just surprised they just didn't do that.
Well, yeah, the structure of the 2 tiers, it's not even tiers. I mean, I think it should be tiered, actually, but they just said, oh, we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, so, or maybe they just wanted to make sure the ratings stayed high for both of them. But they wanted to divide up the stronger candidates among the weaker ones instead of actually having a debate. I mean, well, just one's plenty, right? Just 10 people, whoever is polling the highest at the time, that's it. This isn't going to be the last debate. This, and it doesn't really mean all that much either because, a lot of the candidates that have won recent presidential elections have done so pulling out wins at the last minute. Neither Donald or Obama were strong at this point. I mean, Donald hadn't even, at this point in his running for the election, he hadn't even announced yet.
Yeah, is this the year, or I should say, is this the election cycle where we kind of jumped the shark on the whole? We are a year and a half out from the election.
We are, but I mean, people are obviously responding well to it, though. I don't think that who's to say if they're going to experience burnout over the course of the next year and a half? Could be. But I'm kind of thinking not, because there's a lot of people who are anxious to get President Trump out of office and want to feel like we're constantly working towards that goal. Hence Robert Mueller actually being subpoenaed to testify, something he says he's going to do, and it's going to be public.
Okay. With that one, oh my God, I kind of sympathize with the Donald on this one. Like, does this ever end? Like, the report's out. It's been available to the public since what, March? April?
Yep. And the reason for the hearing is mostly because there's a lot of people who don't understand what's in the report still.
And that may be on them. Like, read it, try to understand it. Maybe look stuff up you don't understand, but it's easier.
Ultimately, yes, it's on the individual.
Or is this all?
Wouldn't that be part of the politician's job to make sure that the people are well informed?
To me, this just reeks.
I almost didn't say that with a straight face.
Yeah, right.
Reeks of what?
To me, this reeks of just pageantry. This is more. Look what
we're doing. It is a little bit of pageantry, but I think that there's a definite purpose behind that pageantry. Obviously, people aren't going to fully ingest what's in this report unless we dress it up for them a little bit. That's why there's also a Broadway play being put on that's going to, I guess, tell us what's in the Mueller report as well. Of a musical version, and probably have a rap version at some point.
What's it? Lin-Manuel Miranda will be involved.
Yeah, but you've seen, I don't know if you've kept up with John Oliver, but I think he's now twice shared, or maybe I saw it from different sources, but there was the clip of the woman who was talking about how she was surprised to find out that there was anything negative about Donald Trump in the Mueller report at all. And when asked where she gets her news from, she said Fox News. So that's part of the problem, is that people they're reading or watching news stories about the Mueller report, but they're getting them from biased sources.
Yeah, because you could argue the converse. You know, if you listen to MSNBC, federal marshals are on their way to the White House right now.
Or they should be, right? Yeah. That it absolutely implicates him. So, and it's not going to just be Mueller that's going to testify. It's going to be his team as well. So as much as Mueller has said, everything that I have to say is in the report, and I'm not going to say anything else unless, I'm not going to say anything else, period. Even if you do subpoena me. The fact that he is actually testifying and it will be broadcast, it would be impossible. Well, I mean, Fox News can go through some gymnastics to not report on things that everybody else is. But I think ultimately they're not going to be able to avoid this information coming in this way, getting to the Fox News viewers.
I would love for every one of Mueller's answers to be, please read it. But that won't happen.
But yeah, in addition to the fact that basically they're going to be taking highlights. They're going to be asking about stuff that's in the report. So we're going to get from his mouth, we'll have video clips of him saying these things. It's a lot different and a lot more useful tool if you're trying to get that information out to the people than just having a 450-page report and saying everyone should read it. I mean, I agree with you that people should, or at least, if not read it, have a variety of sources that you can trust that are telling you what's in it. Because, I mean, let's face it, this is like an iTunes contract. Nobody is really reading it, except for lawyers.
Maybe it's just deeper for me then. I think it might just get down to, like, I'm tired of catering to dumb people. Like, it's been available for 2 months, but now we got to put a guy on TV and have him explain it, because God forbid we crack something open and read something and disseminate the information ourselves. The horror.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't this how we handle just about everything? No. How many laws have you read yourself personally?
I haven't been keeping track, but when they matter to me, a couple. But exactly kept the score.
There must be hundreds or thousands of laws that govern you in some way or fashion. There's a lot that you haven't read. You trust that people are telling you the truth, and there's, you can certainly look things up if you need to, if you're worried about specifics. But this idea that everyone, the general public keeps informed by all reading a very dry report from the FBI, and the way that we keep informed is through the Fourth Estate traditionally, and we don't. Sure, maybe you'd get a more direct source of news if you watch nothing but C-SPAN all day. But how many of us would really even understand what the fuck is going on C-SPAN on a day-to-day basis? We need people who understand this shit to kind of translate it for us.
I suppose. But I mean, I would argue it's not C-SPAN's problem if you don't understand it.
It's not. But if you want people to understand what's going on in politics, then it is your problem. You have to find a way. I'm not saying that the answer is always to package it in a Broadway play, but the idea of representing the information in a form that is going to be impossible for every news source, including Fox News, not to report on, in a way where you can have video clips where they're like, well, that's right out of his mouth. That's a lot different than there was a 450-page report and here's some highlights from it. But
if anything, it'll silence the self-righteous assholes who've been screaming for him to testify for the last 3 months. Like, here you go. Here's what you wanted.
Well, I want Mueller to testify. So, am I a self-righteous asshole for wanting that?
You haven't been one, but it's like I said, our unregimented Twitter feed. I've just had to stop reading it because people have been calling for this guy to test. So there, it'll give those babies their bottle. Again, it's the same information. It's just going to be presented to you different. Okay, 220, 221, whatever it takes.
I don't know. Look, if a book's important enough, they make a movie about it, right? Because not everyone's going to read the book.
Fair point.
More people will see the movie.
So we're going to have all the people who did read the report going, they cut so much out in this movie, man.
Right.
The book is so much better. It gives you context. I mean, Jesus. They cut out plot lines and everything.
Well, joke aside, we will have that, Rich. We will have people saying, well, look, you take this one clip of Mueller saying this about Trump, and it looks really bad, but you didn't read it in context. If you take this stuff out of context of the report, then you're misrepresenting it. That's going to be the argument to defend him, because there's going to be things that Fox News at some point is going to have to explain to its viewers why they weren't reporting on it. Things that were in the report that they never mentioned, and now there'll be actual video clips that everyone can reference of Mueller explaining these things.
I just the people who are diehard Trump defenders or they're opposites, those are people that only care about context when it suits them. That's what bothers me about people that are going to stand up and say that. Now, don't get me wrong, I'll be more than happy to hear someone who's like, well, wait a minute. Let's get the context of what this quote was said, instead of just cutting it to a 5-second soundbite, throwing it out there and then having some talking heads spin it the way that you want it to be spun to you, because you're obviously watching, either Fox News or MSNBC or whatever the fuck. But I mean, it's funny you mentioned C-SPAN, because I'm thinking, Chris, when you said, well, C-SPAN shouldn't have to explain the report to people. People probably watching C-SPAN read the fucking report.
Yeah.
It's the people watching MSNBC and Fox that probably didn't.
Right. People are watching C-SPAN because they are already informed and want to know more of the nuances of the issues, and or just interested in government in general.
Yeah, you're right. Because one side wants Rachel Maddow to shout it at him, the other side wants Tucker Carlson to shout it at him. They want their preferred delivery mechanism to tell them about it.
Yeah, and again, as much as I'm saying this about Fox News in relation to what Mueller is going to say, I think the same is to be said for MSNBC, because MSNBC certainly had their own narrative of what was in the Mueller report and how that information should be handled. And Mueller is going to have to explain why he didn't think it was appropriate for him or his office to bring charges against a sitting president.
Yeah, which I thought he did in April, but again, I'm just coming to terms with that. I'm not one of these people that needs shit packaged for me. Oh well, that's my problem, I guess. That's on me, guys.
I don't. Well, it's not like
I remember him clearly stating.
You read news stories.
I remember him clearly stating, like, there's not enough here to charge him. We think something happened, but there's not enough to bring charges. I remember reading that in a CNN article the day he finished. But I guess some people need it spelled out.
Well, hold on. I mean, I don't know if you're intending to quote, but there was never anything in the report that says there's not enough to charge him. What's in the report explains why it is the FBI's position that they cannot charge a sitting president. That's different than not having enough evidence to prosecute.
No, that wasn't in the report. It was Mueller made a statement about obstruction of it was about the obstruction of justice. He said, we think it happened, but we don't have enough proof.
Right. That is true. But the obstruction of justice was only a portion of, it wasn't the original intent of the investigation, because the obstruction only happened once the investigation was underway.
Mm-hmm. So I guess, what is it, July 17th is when he goes in front of Congress? Or is it the 7th? It's something with a 7 in it.
17th.
So that's when this summer's blockbuster movie, right, debuts. Based on the book hardly any of you read. It's the Mueller investigation.
Yeah.
Well, the memes are all back with him in the opening up his shirt and revealing an M like Superman's ass.
So he's a hero again?
Yeah, he's a hero again.
Wasn't he an asshole like a month and a half ago? Now he's a hero?
I'm sure he'll do something to go back to being an asshole.
We are rather fickle.
And it's not going to... Sure, there's a hardcore sector of Fox News viewers who are not going to change their opinion of the president. They will just change their opinion of Mueller. He will go from being even-handed to being a puppet.
And it will go the other way. on the other side too, if it goes the opposite way. That's what's hilarious is each side will both paint the same picture of him if it doesn't go their way. Either way, he's a puppet. He's a puppet for, the opposition if you didn't win.
Well, I don't,
quote unquote.
I don't know that it's not about whether he's going to go one way or the other. I think everyone understands and believes him at his word when he says he's not going to say anything different than what's in the report. It's just that there'll be a new package for that information to present it to everyone. I mean, the effectiveness isn't, no one's thinking that Mueller's going to go, you know what? Come to think of it, I should charge this guy.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. My prediction is that Trump is going to take a significant hit in his poll numbers after this. Maybe maybe it's a temporary dip. Maybe he makes it up and gets back to his 40% that he seems to be floating at for a while now. Or maybe it actually affects him.
I think by Christmas he'll be fine. As long as the economy keeps doing what the economy's doing.
Well, that's a pretty big if. That's a really big if considering what he's currently doing to the economy.
Well, it's still humming along. It's had a couple hiccups, but unemployment's at like the lowest rate in history. So it's you got to remember, people vote with their wallets, man.
Oh, I've never forgotten that, and I'm not saying it's not going to be a factor.
Because remember, that's what I brought up several times. That's what killed his dad's HW's second term. Yeah, he's great. He was war hero. His approval numbers are up. But by the time the election rolled around that year, the economy was in the shitter. And here comes, Bill and Hillary. I don't know. I'm already exhausted, and the election cycle just started.
You got to pace yourself, man.
I know.
Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
But at least being on our side of it, I can just choose to ignore the marathon. Just pay attention when it's time.
Well, I did hear on NPR today, they were talking on Detroit Today about, they had guests on about the impressions about the debate and all this. And this is speaking more, this isn't necessarily about the Mueller investigation, speaking more to the, you got to pace yourself, not get burnt out. One of the guests said, man, these two presidential debates are like the wackest version of Thunderdome ever. 10 people enter, 10 people leave. I want to see some blood. I was like, damn. Did I accidentally put on 97.1? Am I on the sports station? Is this NPR still? So I think you gotta have some sort of levity and add some humor in here to get through this shit. Because if not, you'll pull your fucking hair out. You'll turn into like just a foaming at the mouth, rabid asshole that no one will want to be around until like 6 months after the election.
Yeah. So wake me when I can vote, because I'm not really that excited about the primary in Michigan because you can't split your ticket.
Well, they were talking about it on NPR this week about the burnout that people are experiencing, and they said that it's record high numbers for the polls they've done this early into, or this far away from, I guess I should say, the election itself. It's like mid 40%. So you're not alone if you feel that way. I don't know if that gives you any solace if you're listening and you're like, oh, I'm already kind of burnt out on this shit. You're not alone, but I don't know.
Well, buckle in, everyone, because the cycle has started. Whether you wanted it to or not, it's here. So it's who the hell knows who will be voting. Who will be running against each other in a year and a half. Maybe it's Biden versus Pence, battle of the white hairs. Who knows?
Do you think if Trump actually got impeached and Pence was president, do you think they'd run him in 2020?
No, because he's the equivalent to a glass of milk.
Yeah.
Do you think he's more like a Dick Cheney? He has no interest in being the king. He'd rather just be the guy whispered in the king's ear.
I don't get a Cheney vibe from him. Because the thing is with Cheney seemed to kind of take he took the second place in the beauty contest. Because Cheney had run for president like I think in 88 and 92, he ran in the primaries. So maybe that he just saw it. But too, he seemed to have this agenda about him. This, like I said, Pence just seems like all the evil shit you hear about him. To me, he seems like he comes off as, hello.
Yeah,
I'm from Indiana. I'm a glass of milk.
Right. Cheney had an agenda, and he couldn't get it done by being president. So he realized that he could actually backdoor it in through being vice president. And then he doesn't even really have to run on his own agenda.
It seems the more this term goes on, it seems like Pence was a strategic move by the Republicans. Like, we need the complete opposite of this guy. We need the yin and the yang. We need someone who's going to say shit, who's just going to keep his mouth shut for 4 years, show up, shake some hands, you know.
Well, they wanted the most predictable person that they could get.
Yes.
To counter Trump.
Yes, to counteract the most unpredictable person that was their front runner.
Well, I think we said as much when he was announced as Trump's running mate. We were like, wow, okay. That is yin and yang right there.
Vice President Race Bannon.
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.
Our business needs vans, lots of vans, and Europcar meets our day-to-day needs all across the country, providing our company with the ideal selection of small, medium or large vans and trucks, and even bespoke commercial vehicles delivered directly to our premises.
From our 22 nationwide locations, Europcar supplies Irish businesses with an unrivaled range of vans, 4x4 pickups, 4-seater commercial SUVs and double cab tippers. With 9,000 vehicles in our fleet, there's no demand we can't fulfill. Europcar, moving your way.
After a great start to the Euro 2020 qualifiers, the Republic of Ireland look to continue their 100% home record as they take on Switzerland on Thursday, September 5th at Aviva Stadium. Then on Tuesday, September 10th, we go again at Aviva for the 3 international friendly versus Bulgaria. Kick-off for both games 7:45. Show your support for the boys in green this September. Tickets on sale now starting at €20 from fai.ie/tickets. Booking fee applies.
Everyone, Vinny the Frog here down at Aquazone and the Sport Ireland campus in Blanchardstown. Come and enjoy tropical wild water fun. Aquazone is open daily this summer, just minutes from Junction 6 on the M50. Book now at aquazone.ie.
After a great start to the Euro 2020 qualifiers, the Republic of Ireland look to continue their 100% home record as they take on Switzerland on Thursday, September 5th at Aviva Stadium. Then on Tuesday, September 10th, we go again at Aviva for the 3 international friendly versus Bulgaria. Kick-off for both games 7:45. Show your support for the boys in green this September. Tickets on sale now starting at €20 from fai.ie/tickets. Booking fee applies.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Unregimented.
So what else, guys?
Should we talk about the Supreme Court or?
Yeah, you had mentioned something about they made a ruling on gerrymandering, that it's beyond the federal courts.
Was it more like they said we don't want to we don't want to rule on this, is what they said, essentially.
No. That was for the citizenship question. That was actually, so that gets knocked down to a lower court. The ruling on there was an actual ruling on the gerrymandering question, and that was, the court ruled that the federal government has no sway over any kind of gerrymandering, that it should all be handled at a state level. So it wasn't the same as refusing to hear the case. They actually heard it and voted that they had no place to make a ruling on it.
Gotcha.
Which means then that there's no second bite at the apple. I mean, unless you feel like you got a drastically different court in there, it might be worth trying to push this back up through the Supreme Court. But that pretty definitively keeps it from these matters from going federal. Now, I mean, that being said, there's been a lot of progress in states where, well, basically where the citizens are demanding it, Michigan being one of them, where they are making progress on political gerrymandering. But I thought one of the most interesting aspects of this is how everyone was reporting this as a Republican victory. And gerrymandering isn't really an exclusively Republican thing.
No, it is not. You ever looked at Rashida Tlaib's district?
No.
Formerly, what's his name? Was it Dingell or Conyers? But anyway,
you're informing me, sir.
She replaced one of the old ass guys who served in Detroit for 100 years and died. I think it was Dingell.
Okay.
But if you've ever seen her district, John, that district is gerrymandered as fuck. You are right. It is not an idea that is exclusive to the right.
I mean, I think that Republicans have weaponized it. They've perfected their version of gerrymandering.
I will agree with you there. But to say it is
certainly
just
not exclusive.
Yeah, to say it's an idea exclusive to one party is just ludicrous. Just one party's better at it than the other. They both do it. But I actually read an article that said, and I actually believe it was an opinion piece from the Washington Post that said this is actually, progressives should actually be psyched about that ruling because it keeps the federal government's hands off of, drawing up districts. It basically prevents the federal government from setting up who they want to be in Congress.
Yeah, I saw that opinion piece as well, and it makes sense. I think that like I said, the Democrats in Michigan have been successful in hampering Republicans' ability to gerrymander districts here, and that is happening in other places in the U.S.
Yeah, it was a few other states. Michigan was one of them where they said that the states are already involved in trying to kill this behavior, or at least curb it.
May be perfectly adequate. I mean, maybe that's all that we need is for the federal government to stay out of it.
It's working with weed.
Well, yeah, I forget what it was called that they passed this week, but it was basically so that the federal government cannot spend any taxpayer money on trying to inhibit weed in states that have legalized it in some fashion. So that was essentially national decriminalization for cannabis businesses.
Now if we can just get them some goddamn banking rules, we'll be all set.
Yep, that would be the final key.
Then it's on. Well, we're talking about weed. Rich, you brought up this week. Aaron and I have talked about this on the Weezen Podcast, available Fridays and Tuesdays here at ChristopherMedia.net. But it was official this week. Illinois, the governor signed recreational cannabis into law. What did you say, Rich? Expunging 8,000 convictions. It's a big deal because this is the first state that has done this. Vermont decriminalized it through their state legislature, but this is the first state where the state legislature and the governor went, no, we can't stop it. It's the first state where it hasn't been put to the people. And that's a big deal. That's a pretty big precedent in the world of weed.
Yeah, and I think the bigger deal is the fact that he did expunge 800,000 criminal records. I mean, it's nice. Look, it's nice that weed is decriminalized.
800,000?
Yes, that's
800,000. That's a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, that's 800,000 people who now don't have to deal with the bullshit of having a drug conviction, possibly a nonviolent felony drug conviction, having to explain that every time they go to move, every time they go to get a job, et cetera, apply for any type of aid or anything.
I think Michigan's working on doing this too. It just wasn't part of or was it? I'm not sure.
If it was, I don't remember it being talked about a whole lot. And I'm pretty sure that the detractors, people who were against legalization in Michigan, would have been hammering away at that part of it as part of their scare tactics. Like, oh, there's going to be how many ever people have ever been charged and convicted of marijuana offenses in Michigan. That many more people applying for welfare. Do you really want to pay to blah, 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 blah? Because if you have a drug conviction, you can't get certain types of state aid, just like you can't get certain jobs and you can't own a weapon, even if
these people think everyone who smokes weed is on welfare or everyone who's on welfare smokes weed.
Oh, well, yeah.
Either one is wrong.
Well, dude, that's part of the drum they've been beating, I mean, in Florida, they tried it, they passed that law that if you're on any type of state aid that you have to be drug tested. And I think literally not even double digits worth of people that were tested come back as dirty because these aren't what I'm saying? They spent way more money testing people.
Do what you got to do to pee clean.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, I mean, sure. But it's just like, really? How much money did you spend testing people and this is all you could catch? First of all, if they're going to some fucking corner store and getting Ready Clear and that's beating your government-approved drug test, then you suck at testing people for drugs. Because any private company that wants to catch you will fucking pull a hair out your head. There ain't shit you can do about it. And they'll tell them everything you've done for the last 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
So if the state of Florida is that incompetent, which since I've lived there, I feel I'm okay to say this, I do believe that they possibly could be, then fuck them. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, that's part of the whole reason that employers still rely on the piss test is because they can't just eliminate anyone who has trace elements of drugs in their system. And that's not really what they're testing for. What they're testing for is, can this guy get it together enough to pass a piss test? Can he stop smoking weed long enough, or can he go out and buy a monkey dick and pass a piss test? Or is he just such a complete loser that he can't even do that?
Pretty much.
But that's two ways where this legislation in Illinois is historic. Not only in the way that they passed legalization, but in the way that they immediately said, all right, there doesn't need to be additional legislation. We don't need to sit down and figure out who gets to, their records expunged and who doesn't. It's just flat out. We're going to make this completely legal to buy by next year, and there's no reason to sit around and wait until that happens either. It's going to happen, so it's already unfair. It's already, beyond unfair. At this point, it would be illegal, it seems like, to keep these people in jail, those that are, or to give them records that's going to hamper them in society.
Exactly. Can you imagine sitting in Cook County doing 6 months over some bullshit little, couple grams? Then this law passes, and they're like, well, yeah, we're sorry. You're going to have to finish your sentence. But what I did isn't illegal anymore.
Yeah. And
open a fucking door and let me walk home.
There are places in the U.S. where that's happening. The intention, I don't think, is for anyone to keep these people in jail, but they don't consider it a priority enough to act on it. And it's because the people aren't demanding it. Because the people think that the general public believes that people who get convicted of crimes enough to go to jail have done something to deserve it.
Well, it's
and maybe if you're just maybe they're serving 6 months on a quarter ounce of weed, but there's probably something else they did.
Well, the famous thing you hear from these people is, well, if they weren't guilty of this, they were guilty of something else they got away with. Okay, Ayn Rand, we got it. Fuck you. You got yours. Fuck everybody else. We understand what you're saying.
It's the catch-22. Like, well, we're just going to let out criminals? Yeah, but we just decriminalized the behavior that was once the criminal behavior that put them behind bars. Yeah, but now they're criminals.
But let's be honest here. If there's people sitting in jail for possession of weed or distribution of weed, and they release it, let's say they release them. As long as it was a nonviolent offense, as long as literally you were sitting in jail because you had weed or were selling weed, and that's it, you're out. But we're not going to expunge your record. Now, I'm not exactly sure how the laws work state by state, but I'm pretty sure that some of these states that have decriminalized or legalized weed that are going to have dispensaries, you're going to have to go through a licensing process, and I'm sure that type of criminal conviction will keep you from getting that license. Ironically, if you've been sitting in jail for distributing weed, that's probably the person that's best suited to run a dispensary.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Well, they got the contacts already.
But also, it's not just all convictions that have to do with cannabis, because there is a legal limit to how much one can carry, how much one can grow. And if your prior conviction would have violated the current rules for legal cannabis in Illinois, then your record isn't changing, your term isn't changing. If you had 5 pounds of cannabis and went to jail for distribution on that, nothing is different for you today than it was yesterday. It is the small amounts. What I don't know exactly, I can't remember what the limits are, but the general limits tend to be around an ounce.
Yeah, it's like I think Michigan, it's like 2 ounces. Yeah, it depends where you're at.
The state's new cannabis regulation and tax act, this is from CNN, talking about Illinois, allows people to automatically receive clemency for convictions up to 30 grams of cannabis. Those convicted with larger amounts from 30 to 500 grams can petition a court to have the charge lifted. The bill defines expunge to mean physically destroy the records or return them to the petitioner and to obliterate the petitioner's name from any official index or public record or both. So, yeah, I mean, well, I think the state law, this is what you can have up to 500 milligrams of edibles like on you. And I'm thinking like 500, who the fuck does 500 milligrams at once? Besides Joey Diaz. Like, seriously. Most I've ever done is 250, you know?
Right. But is that, so that must be like 500 milligrams of THC, right? Not just the product.
Yes. Yeah, the edibles. I think it's like 2 ounces you can possess up to, like, I know it's a couple pounds at home. And it's pretty much the same. It's just a variation on our law, which is 12 plants per adult in the house, 21 years old or older. I think you can have up to 5 pounds in a safe at home, and you can have, as long as you have less than, 2.5 ounces here? Or is it 2 ounces? I don't know. It's been such a long fucking time. So why are you rolling around with an ounce of weed unless you're going home from buying it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
maybe you're going to a party.
Well, I mean, but hey, BYOB, BYO trees, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're going to a party.
You got to throw in on it, homie. You know what I'm saying? This ain't, you ain't Snoop. This ain't fucking half baked. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, But still, I mean, they're reasonable laws, you know. And I mean, obviously, if you get caught with 200 pounds, sorry, homeboy, you just better get used to showering with men for a while. That's just all there is to it. Like, I can't even argue. Like, dude, really? Seriously? And let's be honest, if you're moving that kind of weight in just weed, I find it hard to believe these days. There's something else probably going on that you know what I'm saying, that's like, that's not weight that anybody just picks up and just fucking goes, you know, halfway across the state with, just for the, you know, shits and grins of it. So, you know, who knows? But I still maintain the important part is the expunging of records, because it is absolutely ridiculous. They're like, and I don't understand how, well, I guess I do, but I don't understand how the supporters who wanted weed legalized aren't beating at this door with the politicians in the states that have legalized it more than they are, going, how can we keep people locked up for something that's not a crime anymore? Come on now.
Well, I think Washington and California did it.
Well, California doesn't shock me. Washington, I don't know much about Washington State, so I can't really speak on anything involving them.
I'm not... If it wasn't Washington, it was at least the city of Seattle, because I remember us talking about it on the Weedsman at some point.
Is this what's going on with medical marijuana or decriminalizing or just flat out legalizing it in the nation? Is this going to be like what our generation is known for? Because we're not millennials. Chris, you like to say you're on the cusp, but you still, you know, according to most dates I've seen, you're past the cutoff point to be a millennial.
Good.
You're tail end of Gen X.
Thank you, Jesus.
You know, and I mean, we've been told all our lives we're the slacker generation. We're the ne'er-do-well generation. Is this going to be our legacy? You know, like the greatest generation?
You're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
we love slacking so hard. We got weed legal. You're welcome, everybody.
Yeah, we slacked into something so hard that we just accidentally legalized weed. We don't even know how we did it. It's just...
Or, I mean, maybe it's just part of a larger package of, you know, expansion of personal freedom.
I would like to think that, but I don't...
Don't you think their generation's going to be known for making advancements on LGBTQ rights? Allowing same-sex couples to marry, expanding the rights of couples and the definition of marriage.
Before I read an article this week saying that millennials are more and more like bristling at the LGBT community, I I would say I would say that they're going to be the ones who say, no, that's ours. We're taking credit for that. But, there was an article this week that came out that said, like, hold on a second. I can pull it up. It's right here. But I'd have figured that had been something that they'd want to take credit for more so than, go, oh, yeah, that's that Gen X people.
Yeah. Well, you were still in diapers when we put Ellen on the air, so take that. Punk.
Yeah.
Well, I swear
we get no credit for Will and Grace.
Roseanne was kissing Sandra Bernhard. Well, you weren't even thought of yet.
Okay. Just as you brought up Roseanne, did you see that she's touring with Andrew Dice Clay?
I would totally go to this show.
I would go see Dice.
I'd be worried that it's just the greatest hits tour, though. I wouldn't want to, as long as I'm guaranteed he's going to have some new material. I don't want to go and just see him just fucking get up there and do the Dice Man Cometh 2019. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me something new. I know all the hickory dickory dock. Hey, I got it.
Little boy blue, cause he needed the money. Oh.
Yeah, I am kind of curious what his current stand-up act would be like, though.
Well, because Anthony Kuma he said that Dice is to make himself relevant. He created the character Andrew Dice Gay, where it's the Dice personality, but he's gay. He's like, I used to fuck women, but I'm over here now. I suck the cock. Hickory dickory dock, the clock struck 2. I swallowed your goo. Oh, it's just...
He's got a dildo that he whips around the other side of his head and sucks on.
As far as Roseanne, I just want to say I'm in the building when she starts teeing off on the Jews or something like that. Just say I was there.
Right.
See, but that's the thing. I never worry about Roseanne having new material because Roseanne just will probably go up on stage and rant.
Yeah.
And that's her material probably. And I've seen she was on it's a Canadian show. I can't remember. It's like one of those in the round shows that CBC puts on. And I think it was her, Sandra Bernhard, Bob Saget, and it wasn't Stanhope. But anyways, another comedian, and they were talking to her, and she's hilarious just to listen to talk. Now, she's offensive as fuck to people who are easily offended, but she's hilarious because it's like she just did not give a fuck. And I'd almost pay to see her go up on stage and not give a fuck for about an hour or so. I'd really pay to see Andrew Dice Gay. I would really pay to see that, though. That's good shit there.
I think most people are going to go to see Roseanne. It'll be like the guy's watching Homer at the bar. He's about to do something stupid. Yeah. But personally, I mean, I never really found her stand-up all that funny. I think she's a funny person. I think she's a funny actor for the character that she has. I'm not saying that she has a lot of range. She pretty much played it herself on her TV show, but she did that well enough. And I thought the show was funny. I thought she was funny. I mean, maybe it certainly wasn't the right, the target audience for her stand-up.
Well, from the stand-up of her that I remember,
you're a middle-aged housewife.
Wait, you're not a domestic goddess, Aaron? Come on, get in touch with your inner goddess here. The stand-up I remember her for is basically before she had the show Roseanne, which was basically Roseanne Connor standing on stage delivering jokes. So I mean that's how I think of her stand-up. But like her, I've seen her in a couple documentaries and stuff, and when she's with other comedians or one-on-one, she can hold her own. She's got some chops. I mean, comedians are cutthroat. Prison rules apply. Look for the weakness in the other comedians and hammer away at them until they break. Then it's funny hammering away at them. When they break, then it's hilarious. And she gets right in there and goes, "I ain't afraid of you, motherfuckers." She's like Bernie Mac,
Well, it's you don't be successful in her field if you suck. If you're afraid, if you're a shrinking violet, you're not going to last in comedy for 3 hours, let alone 30 years.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I've seen comedians who are amusing or funny on stage, and then when you get them with other comedians in a tough crowd situation, like that old show that was on Comedy Central with Colin Quinn, and they suck. They can't hang, and you realize, oh, these are one-trick ponies. These are guys who just go up on stage and they plot out their whole act. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing every night. They hit every beat exactly the same way. They can't improvise. They can't riff on anything. And God forbid if, a comedian who smells blood in the water and lives to torment that kind of comedian finds out, because your breakfast, lunch, and dinner for him that day. He or she is gonna eat your ass up.
I mean, I don't necessarily. I agree with you, but I don't necessarily disparage somebody for their, lack of talent or whatever you might want to call it. I just think of them as a bit of a different class. There's performers, and then there's true comedians. And you get them on. Well, it used to be the morning radio shows. Now it's podcasts, and you find out real quick who the real comedians are and who the performers are. The performers who have their shtick, they're not going to be able to improv. They're not going to be able to be funny on the fly. And the true comedians are not going to be able to turn it off.
Yeah, it's a good example of that. Mike Myers.
Yeah.
His Mark Maron podcast is one of the most boring fucking Mark Maron podcasts he ever recorded. Because, Mike Myers needs to perform. You get him one-on-one, he is just bleh.
But that is a good example, though, because I think that he's a genius comedic performer, but he's not a comedian. I wouldn't
he's not
call him a comedian. I'm sure he can do improv and all that too, but yeah.
I think you're talking about the thing.
No, I think if he wanted to, he could do stand-up, but it would be a character.
Exactly. You're talking about a guy who's more sketch comedian.
Yeah, Bill Burr, he is not.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Burr.
Yes.
Yeah. People sit down with Bill Burr, Jay Moore, I can think of just listen to interviews, and those guys, they can't help but to be funny.
Yeah.
They just say funny shit, and it's like, it's just constant. It's a flow. And it's
Patrice was like that too.
Oh, he was a god at that.
I would put Adam Carolla in the category of comedian, even though I don't think that his stand-up is really all that funny. Well, and maybe part of it's because I've heard all these jokes for the last 20 years over and over again.
You've heard all the jokes.
Yes, but if you do listen to his show, you know that, he's sure he gets stuck in his ruts and his rants and all that, but my God, his mind.
Yeah.
The way that his brain works and how quickly that guy is, and he's, he has the true comedian brain.
Yeah. Because it's too, Bill Burr's like that. Like, guy's awesome stand-up, but if you listen to his podcast, when you watch his specials, at least the last 5 years, you have heard all the jokes. But if you listen to his podcast, you heard the same with Adam Carolla, you heard the genesis of them. You heard, how they formed organically, where they came from. And that's the impressive part.
Well, that's going to be an interesting tour to see if they do that. Well, now they think about it, they'll do the put your cell phones in the pouch thing. That seems to be what most comedians who go, comedians go on tour do, because if they don't, I'm definitely going to be checking clips out.
Dude, if they are smart...
I think that they'll probably just release an EMP before that show. Knock out everything in a 10-mile radius.
Well, if they're smart, they just make a circle of the Midwest and the South and repeat, because that's who's going to go see that show.
Oh, yeah, I don't think they're going to get, some kind of Broadway residency with this thing.
Yeah. Probably not going to go over too well in Seattle.
Although it would be funny if, because Dice he's from Jersey, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he gave it away.
Here's the thing I've learned. Everyone who's not from New York or Jersey thinks they sound exactly alike.
Oh no, I could tell you at 2 years there, I could tell you the difference between accents.
Yeah, see, but you had
there's a Queens accent, there's a Brooklyn's accent, there's a Staten Island accent.
Exactly, yeah.
There's a Jersey accent. And you know what? I stand corrected on the coast. The Bridge and Tunnel crowd, this show might go over with them.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, he sold out Madison Square Garden multiple times to the point where they were adding shows and adding more shows. Now, granted, it was 25 going on 30 years ago, but I'm sure they can do like a 600-seat comedy club. I'm sure both of them can sell it out in New York easy.
Oh, yeah.
Easy. Stanhope, Jesus Christ, he filmed a special in New York. He comes out and he just, I think like within the first 10 minutes, he just starts saying, yeah, New York fucking sucks and y'all suck for living here. Like, and people are just eating it up. And there was like 500 people in the crowd. Like, that's how most people suck New York's dick. He just comes out and goes, you suck. This city sucks.
Fuck that place.
This place is a shithole.
It's big, it's dirty, everyone's rude. I don't know why everyone loves it.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Andrew Dice Clay has to offer this time around, because I don't think that he's going to be able to get away with, like you were saying, Rich. You can't nobody wants to hear Hickory Dickory Dock again. We've all heard it. We can go listen to the album if we want. There's no reason to like trot out the same jokes, and even then that same style that he was part of that old school, a lot of one-liner, jokes, not personal anecdotes that people find humorous. He was straight up telling jokes. But, if you've ever heard The Day the Laughter Died, then you know that, I mean, for whatever you consider that album to be, I think I think that's Andrew Dice Clay at his funniest. And that's likely to be, I don't know what type of reaction. I guess it depends on where he goes. I mean, they probably are going to play it safely. They're going to go to places where he's going to get a good reception, and there'd be no need to put him in front of audiences that would react negatively to him.
Well, I mean, I can tell you for a fact, I have a few friends who are huge Andrew Dice Clay fans, and when The Day the Laughter Died came out and they bought that album, they were like, what the fuck is this? This sucks. And Chris, we actually do a podcast with one of them. So, I mean, like, it's like someone like Earl, who we do Sporgy with, he'd be more than happy to lay down some hard-earned cash and see Dice do a best of Dice set, Whereas me, I'd be like, oh, God, can you save it to the end? Seriously, save it for the end. Save it for the encore. Come back out and do it, and that way I can decide whether I want to beat traffic or sit here and watch you rehash this shit from 35 years ago.
But I will package it like this, Rich. All right, it's 2019. You're going to see Pearl Jam. I don't know. I'm trying to pick a band that's like 25, 30 years old. Are you there to hear the new shit?
When I saw him, yeah, I heard a good amount of new stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if I caught him. That's where comedy differs greatly from music. We want to hear the same songs over and over again, and if we hear somebody tell the same joke that we already heard, then we're over it.
Yeah, I mean, but Pearl Jam's a weird example to use because they literally write their set. Well, they don't write set list. Eddie Vedder writes the set list like 20 minutes before they go on stage and hands them out to the guys. Like he goes by how he's feeling that night and how he's picking up what the crowd is, the vibes of the crowd. This is all his. I'm paraphrasing, but this is his words. You can see it in that Pearl Jam 20 documentary that came out, I think 2011. So I mean, the night I saw him, I think they played Even Flow. That's all they played off 10. They didn't play anything off of Verses. They played like 4 or 5 songs. I mean, Verses. I mean, it was if you didn't know Pearl Jam, if you weren't a Pearl Jam fan, you'd have been like, what are these songs? But I actually really like Pearl Jam, so I got the deep cuts. I'm like, oh, I know. Okay. All right, cool.
Okay. I guess I used a bad example.
No, now when I went and saw Tom Petty, that was 2 hours of just, it was like listening to classic rock radio. But the amazing thing about that is that it was 2 hours of songs. I knew every single fucking song.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not talking from Full Moon Fever forward. We're talking going back to the 70s to 2005 when I saw him. I mean, even my cousin who went, he was like, I don't like Tom Petty. I don't want to go. When we left, he's like, God damn, I didn't realize He's had a lot of fucking hits. I knew all those songs. I actually liked a lot of I forgot about some of those songs. I'm like, yeah, dude, but you're right, Aaron. Comedy is different than music. Music, you want it, you pay. Hey, I want to hear you play my favorite song. I don't want to go see Chris Rock and him recreate Bring the Pain. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, maybe if he was promoting the tour as that, or did a few shows and put it out and then like recorded it and put it out as a special. I don't know, maybe, but I want to see comedians riff and come up with new material. And that's why Carlin was so genius. He put out a special once every couple of years. Did he ever repeat himself on those specials? Not that I remember.
I wonder if maybe this current version of America will see Andrew Dice Clay in a different light, though.
Oh,
because
there's that too. We haven't brought that up yet.
But hold on, it's not going where you think I'm going, because let's compare Andrew Dice Clay to Louis C.K. Right? These are both comedians that told a lot of kind of outrageous and vulgar jokes that and it was effective because it pushed the envelope a bit with what people would consider to be good taste. And that was part of the appeal of it, right? And at the time, I don't think that we were all that good about separating the art and the artist and the product from reality. And we saw, a lot of people saw Andrew Dice Clay as a vile person and not as a character that was a vile character. Now, when we get to Louis C.K., I think we're a lot more accepting of, and hear me out, we're a lot more accepting of the vileness of his humor and the places that he's willing to go for a joke. But as soon as we find out that the actual person might be even more vile than his comedy, then we're not interested in him having a career at all at this point. So maybe the fact that Andrew Dice Clay, as far as I know, hasn't been Me Too'd, and it isn't actually he's the type of guy that he's portraying on stage, but that is such an exaggerated version of it, right? I mean, who knows what the real Andrew Dice Clay is like, but I feel like you could probably get pretty close to that if you've watched the Showtime show that he had recently, which I really enjoyed. And sure, okay, so you could, I think you could appropriately name him a misogynist, but do you think he's a rapist, or that he's abusive to women, or anything like that? I mean, maybe we're willing to accept that Andrew Dice Clay is this character, or maybe we'll just Me Too him. I don't know.
Well, when he was on Joe Rogan a while ago, at least if he's been on recently, I haven't heard him. They talked about that, and he goes, look, everybody that knows me knows that I'm a Jewish kid from the suburbs. Dice is like, he's a character. He acts like an Italian from the Bronx, or like Bensonhurst or something. He's like that's what that is. People that know me understand that. And I mean, the people that are going to get offended and go, oh, how could you go see his show, are the people who are going to go, wait a minute, he opens his show with, so I'm standing in line at the bank and I got my tongue up this chick's ass. And she's like, do I know you? And I'm like, does it matter? It's so boring in line at the bank. And it's so absurd how anyone thinks that he's telling a factual story. If you really think he's telling a factual story, you're an idiot. And nobody with two brain cells to rub together is listening to you. I mean, what kind of rapist just walks up to a chick, pulls down her pants, and starts tonguing her ass in the middle of a fucking bank? I mean,
an inventive one.
You can't. You get style points, but you still got to go to prison. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that type of comedy, there's always going to be people who protested, who think that there's just. I just don't think that humor should ever be blue in any way.
Exactly.
A million moms are going to get off their fat cunts and try and do something to shut him down, and it's going to be ineffective, and it's going to promote promote a show for free. I'm sure all that's going to happen, but I don't think that Andrew Dice Clay is going to, just through his comedy alone, is going to get to the point where they're going to have to start sneaking him on stage like Louis C.K.
Yeah. But
no,
as much as I do want to agree with you, Aaron, on your take on that, there's two things that are just sticking in my head. It's two guys we've already talked about today. Two separate stories from Adam Carolla and Bill Burr that both pretty much have the same ending. They're on stage, they're talking about something. One person in the audience disagrees with what they're talking about, and they start shouting them down while they're on stage. Like those are the things in my head that are going like, can we separate the art from the artist? Or are we just so full of ourselves now that we think that they're talking directly to us, and when we don't agree with it, we have to try to shout them down.
Yeah, but
essentially at their job in front of a crowd of people and look like a hero.
You have to remember.
But I think I already preempted this. Like I said, there's crazy people are going to do their crazy shit. I'm not saying that nobody's going to be offended or protest Andrew Dice Clay in any way. I'm just saying I think there's a better chance of us actually accepting him for the act that he is in ways that we didn't back in the day, in ways that, I mean, honestly, eventually ruined his career because he was painted as the misogynist that his character was.
Yeah, I mean, he.
No one looked at the day the laughter died happened not because he lost his edge, not because his comedy was something different than what it was before. It was because the nation had soured on him because people like Jan Hook and others were like, this guy is awful. How could you even give him the time of day?
And an MTV banned him for life, and an EMF sampled him and put him in a fucking song that got heavy rotation on MTV.
Yeah.
And MTV was like, fuck, we got to play this song, guys. Jesus. Got to go back on that shit. Just don't show him. Okay. He's visually banned from the channel for life.
I don't know about that, Rich. That sounds unbelievable.
Oh.
See what you did there.
But no, you got to remember, as Dice does come from the East Coast comedy scene, and I am lumping like New York, Jersey, Boston all together for one reason. Those comics are savages. Those guys. I was listening to a podcast with Bill Burr, and he was talking about how they would go to the Comedy Cellar, and it would be like him, Patrice O'Neill, Rich Voss, Colin Quinn, and they'd start getting heckled. And they had basically once they started getting heckled, they decided, okay, fuck you. And they started attacking the crowd for going, you gonna let this guy fuck up your good time? What kind of pussies are you? I thought we're in New York. Thought we had a bunch of tough guys around here. And they were talking about they would walk half the fucking room. They would be like, half people get up and leave, and they would turn it on the audience. So anybody that stands up and gives it to him, I guarantee you he's probably going to give it back to him.
Oh,
he's going to love that shit.
And here's I'll throw up two things in my defense of how America is going to respond to, if at all. Maybe this is just a blip, but there's two factors that I think that will work in his favor. One, his act isn't and never has been political in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And two, he's basically doing the same act as Sarah Silverman. Not the same jokes, but he's doing Sarah Silverman does this is me, but this is this ridiculously exaggerated version of me that you can't even believe is real. And both of them are portraying characters, exaggerated characters on stage.
I hope you're right.
I don't remember even privately. I don't think that Andrew Dice Clay has talked about any president or elected official anywhere ever.
Not that I can. I mean, outside of making the standard jokes that every comedian made about, Clinton and pussy, Bush sounding like an idiot when he talks. You know what I'm saying? But he never gave a political opinion. He wasn't like Bill Hicks. It was up there so this child of Satan named Bush that we have in office. Yeah, I'm a little bit to the left. He just went up there and let it hang out. He didn't give a shit. So that's never been. That will probably insulate him from a lot of the bullshit. I mean, like I said, the people that are going to get upset are people who are going to be upset anyways, and they're not his target demographic as it is. He's not going, oh, they're going to buy tickets. And to be honest with you, if he's putting on a show in Jersey and it's like a homecoming show and a bunch of fucking, you know, the so woke they fell back asleep people show up and try to fucking interrupt his show, I think his audience would probably be like, oh, we about to turn this into a fucking riot right now. Y'all see the West Side Story?
Too bad for you. I already got my shirt off, sucker.
Yeah. Sun's out, guns out. What's up, Antifa? You know, like they
are from Jersey.
There's gonna be hair wax and tanning cream flying everywhere. You're gonna see dreadlocks getting pulled out of people's head and shit. Oh.
No, like about the last segment, we talked more about Andrew Dice Clay than I think we did for Trump this show.
Because let's be honest, Andrew Dice Clay's funnier.
Yeah,
I mean, and he's attempting to be funny. Trump is just
what's it?
You laugh, funnier. You go, yeah.
I will say he's funnier, but I can't argue he's more entertaining. whatever you think of Trump, it's been entertaining.
Well, it's like the old saying, "May you live in interesting times."
Yeah,
you know,
maybe cursed with living in interesting times.
Yes, okay. Yeah.
Key element there.
Yeah. See, so
it has definitely not been a boring presidency. I'll give him that one.
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.
At DBS, you can study in Dublin city centre or online. Choose from over 100 industry-led programs. Programs designed to fit your life now and help you create your future. Realise your ambitions. Apply for a full or part-time course today at dbs.ie.
After a great start to the Euro 2020 qualifiers, the Republic of Ireland look to continue their 100% home record as they take on Switzerland on Thursday, September 5th at Aviva Stadium. Then on Tuesday, September 10th, we go again at Aviva for the 3 international friendly versus Bulgaria. Kick-off for both games 7:45. Show your support for the boys in green this September. Tickets on sale now starting at €20 from fai.ie/tickets. Booking fee applies. After a great start to the Euro 2020 qualifiers, the Republic of Ireland look to continue their 100% home record as they take on Switzerland on Thursday, September 5th at Aviva Stadium. Then on Tuesday, September 10th, we go again at Aviva for the 3 international friendly versus Bulgaria. Kick-off for both games 7:45. Show your support for the boys in green this September. Tickets on sale now starting at €20 from fai.ie/tickets. Booking fee applies.
Everyone shouts about how fast their broadband is.
We're fast, mega fast, stupid fast, almost too fast.
But what do they say about reliability? Well, Dublin, with Virgin Media, you get both. Ireland's fastest broadband network and 99.9% network reliability. Reliability at speed. See virginmedia.ie.
Terms and conditions apply. Ireland's fastest broadband network as awarded by Ookla. Network reliability. See virginmedia.ie/proof.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Unregimented.
Now, Aaron, you were saying something pre-show that Twitter is going to label tweets, and Trump is one of the people who will be labeled or could be labeled. What exactly do you mean by labeled? Do you mean like they're going to remove, or do you mean that they're just going to give a warning like this is a highly charged political statement? Like almost like a rating.
They're going to label politically offensive tweets, according to them. Let me try to find the actual quote.
Well, I mean, because it's like, if there's like a warning, explicit content, click to see this, that's one thing. But I mean, if Twitter has deplatformed people for posting inflammatory and offensive things, if they're going to label them, why not just deplatform? Say, look, you say inflammatory shit that's against our terms of service. We don't give a fuck if you're the president. You agree just like everybody else.
This is from a Politico story. Under the new policy on so-called public interest tweets, Twitter will consider adding a notice about why rule-violating tweets are allowed to remain up. The company shared an example of such a label that reads, quote, "The Twitter rules about abusive behavior apply to this tweet. However, Twitter has determined that it may be in the public's interest for the tweet to remain available." So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like this is going to be, well, for example, offensive tweets. Twitter will shut down abusive tweets, but if you're just spouting obscenities, that's fine. Plenty of people have potty mouth on Twitter, and if people are commenting, even with offensive things in the comments, a lot of times you'll see them as you'll have to click a link for additional responses to see those. It doesn't sound. I don't know what this label is going to look like, but I think it sounds like it's just going to accompany the tweet.
Yeah, and for the record,
you'll see the full text of the tweet, and then probably something underneath it, much like the little translate tweet. If you ever follow somebody that doesn't tweet in English, there'll probably be something like that, where just some language at the bottom and a little disclaimer.
And just for transparency here, we are the ones using the word offensive. Twitter is actually, they're saying they're going to label the tweets that violate their terms of service. So I was referring to, there are tweets that they label as offensive, and those that they put behind I've seen those. Yeah,
behind the link.
Yeah,
right. That's what I was drawing. I was basically pointing to how they currently handle what they consider offensive.
Or what do they say? It says sensitive content. Isn't that the verbiage they use?
Yeah, I believe that's true.
I don't know. Trust me, the artist in me right now is fighting with the pragmatist inside my head, because the artist in me is screaming, "This is censorship," but the pragmatist is, like we said in the pre-show chat, this is, my opinion, this is Jack Dorsey trying to regulate his platform before the government does. This is a proactive move.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's also, I don't know, they have to do something to explain why some people, it's okay for some people to break Twitter rules, and it's where others it's not.
Yeah,
but I mean, just like Twitter is deciding what language is offensive and what behavior constitutes abuse, they are now making active decisions about what's in the public interest.
So if I'm Alex Jones and I try to sue Jack Dorsey, is that my argument? Like none of your tweets were in the public interest? Because I mean,
I'm sorry, I don't follow.
Alex Jones got booted off of Twitter.
Yes.
It's one of the first things I thought about. Like, if I'm Alex Jones, I'm calling a lawyer.
Hopefully not the one that forwarded the child porn.
Right? Yeah, not that lawyer. He got fired.
I guess Alex Jones could argue that.
No, but I'm saying that. But if I'm Jack Dorsey, wouldn't my retort to him be like, nothing you were posting was in the public interest?
Well, does he even need to say that? He can just go, "I'm sorry, I own Twitter. You don't. My fucking." Well, my game, my rules. You don't like it, don't play. I mean, it might be a dick thing to go down that road, but I mean, isn't that essentially what it boils down to?
Well, I know Alex Jones looks like a sweaty maniac on his YouTube clips, but he comes off a lot better, apparently, on YouTube than he does in courts. And the idea that he would have to fight this type of censorship in the court, well, then he would then have to prove that his information, quote unquote, that he's providing has public value, even though he's previously argued that he is a basically TV personality. In defense of saying things like Sandy Hook was a hoax, he has claimed that he is basically Andrew Dice Clay. He's just playing a character that believes that Sandy Hook is a hoax.
I think he just came up with his defense.
Right? Yeah, I mean, then he's just classified as entertainment.
Yeah, then he's an entertainer. Hey, no one had a problem when Glenn Beck came out, 10 years ago and said, yeah, it's all an act. I'm just doing it to make money. This is one more decision that Twitter is making that is putting into question, how do we want to consider Twitter, Facebook, or any platform that might come about and dominate someday in the future, and do we want to regulate this, fully understanding that Twitter is regulating the content that is on its platform. And at what point does
regulating content on your platform be akin to basically trying to shut somebody down from openly protesting on the street?
It's a good point.
And
that's what you just said. To what end? Where does it stop?
Well, I mean, I think we just have to collectively wrap our heads around what we expect of social media, what we intend for it to be, and how seriously we're going to take it.
I've always been of the mindset, really, like, you got to take the bad with the good. You know, nothing's going to be perfect. You know, we've proven, you know, as a species, we'll find a way to fuck something up.
Yeah, but it's a difference between looking at Twitter as like a public forum and a public utility.
But it's not.
And
as long as
looking
Jack
at
Dorsey owns it, it's a private company.
Right. But it's also, it's Twitter and Facebook as well, and probably Instagram just as much now, are filling a void that's being left by the lack of journalism. The newspapers shutting down.
Some could argue it's contributing to the lack of journalism. But
that absolutely is.
Oh, speaking of which, this reminds me. I want to talk about journalism. You know how we've talked about how proofreading is dead?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently vetting is dead. Do you guys see this? What the hell is that woman's name? Exactly. It's already gone from the news cycle. The Bergdorf lady.
You're going to have to give us a little bit more to go on.
Yeah, there's 7 billion people and half of them are females.
The woman who claimed Trump assaulted her 2 days
start with,
ago.
was her last name Smith? Oh, okay. The one that he claimed is not his type. Like, if he was to rape somebody, it definitely wouldn't be her, which is not a good defense.
Yeah, at first I thought, like, not your raping type? You might want to think about that, Donnie.
Right.
I've raped much hotter, trust me, I've raped much hotter women many more times.
But, I mean...
I used the rubber. I just wanted to ruin their night, not their life.
Did you see that? Did either of you see her talk to Anderson Cooper?
No.
There is a point where you could see on his face he is contemplating what he's done with his life for the last 30 years. Because she said, quote out of her mouth, well, I think people view rape as sexy. You can see the look in his eyes where it's a split second, what have I done with the last 30 years? And then he instantly goes to commercial.
Is that okay? Wait a minute, though, because I do want some context on this. I don't want just that quote completely removed from context. Was she condemning society by saying people like, and basically put it in a very wrong way by saying people kind of like scoff, or not scoff, but just don't make that big of a deal a rape? You know what I'm saying?
I can imagine this being a response to Anderson Cooper saying, why do you think that your accusations and others haven't seemed to affected the president in ways that we think?
Oh, no. She did not mean sexy that way. No, she did not. I'm trying to find, I'm trying to get it here.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
The quote leading, or the conversation leading up to the quote. Is that what you're looking for?
The context in which she used sexy, no, it was not about an appealing headline. It was actually about her saying that some people think rape is sexy.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure. I guess I'll play devil's advocate. There's women who have rape fantasies, but there's a big difference between fantasy and wanting to be raped.
She did say the word fantasy right after it.
Well, I mean, she's
what I'm saying is that I don't know the context. You know it.
I'm trying to find it.
I'm just hearing about it, but you're telling me that it wasn't in response to why rape accusations aren't sticking to the president?
No, it was about how the public perceives rape, because I think he was trying to get at her is
are we saying the same thing?
One of the reasons this is just shot like a rock to the bottom of the news cycle is she won't use the word rape. That's what people have been calling her out for. She won't come out and say it was a rape.
So what is she saying? I was sexually assaulted?
I can't even find this shit now. And it's just gone. I got to look it up. I don't even remember her fucking name. I'll just type in Trump rape. I'm sure it'll come up.
Look, here's my takeaway of that whole situation while you're looking. I haven't seen any of the usual suspects on any social media platform jump on this story, either to denounce it or to try to pump it up.
Well, that's the thing, is she's being kind of written off by everyone. Like, she is not sounded intelligent.
Well, I mean, dumb people get raped too. I mean, You don't have to. You don't have to be a Mensa member to get raped. I mean, it's that has nothing to do with anything, but besides affecting her credibility in people's personal opinion, which it sounds like she isn't coming off very credible.
Right. I mean, if she's coming off as dumb, she's starting to sound more like Trump's type. First of all, it kind of makes it more credible from my.
All right, I found context, gentlemen.
Does she have a Twitter account? She's my type.
Yeah. It's from Real Clear Politics, Anderson Cooper. So you don't feel like a victim? E. Jean Carroll. I was not thrown on the ground and ravaged, which the word rape carries so many sexual connotations. This was just not sexual. It just hurt. Anderson Cooper. I think most people think of rape as a violent assault. It is not sexual. And she says, I think most people think of rape as being sexy. And then he says, let's take a short break. She says, think of the fantasies. He says, well, we're going to take a short break. If you could stick around, we could talk more. And she says, well, you're fascinating to talk to. Because as soon as she finished the word sexy, you could see in his eyes, like, what have I done with the last 30 years of my life?
And wait a minute. In her at the end, you're a fascinating person to talk to. Is she kind of like trying to flirt with him? Because she's barking up the wrong tree there.
Yeah. And his mom just died.
But, okay.
But my whole point bringing that up was how vetting seems to be dying as well, along with proofreading.
So are you saying that they should have vetted her for opinion on rape before they started interviewing her?
They should have vetted her in general because you would think the anti-Trump crowd, this would be like, you know, the John Oliver thing, the We Got Him button. And this has just been, like Rich said, none of the usual suspects are on this. It's not even in my Google News feed anymore. It came out 2 days ago, and it is just
Well, then it sounds like people are vetting it, right? Sounds like a lot of people are looking at this story and going, this doesn't look like anything.
Well, no, the thing is, the problem is they're vetting it after she's already, I'm talking about the news organization should have vetted her before they even printed it, put her on the air.
Oh, but that's...
I don't know. This really sounds like the system working. Like, if somebody makes an announcement like this, you're not just going to not report on it.
But it's already dead.
As it gets right, it's already dead because of investigating. I understand. So the system worked, right?
Did it?
The story didn't hold up and it went away.
True.
And forgive me because, like I said, besides, this is the most I've heard anyone address this issue, what we're doing right now. So I don't know the ins and outs of this, but did she file a police report? Was there? I mean, I don't even know when apparently allegedly this happened.
She didn't file a police report. It's from like 30 years ago.
Okay, well, yeah. See, I don't know. This gets into that very fucked up area of he said, she said, and I mean, I know we've mentioned it before. I should remember specifically the state of New York, if that's where this supposed or allegedly happened. I think they have like relaxed their statute of limitation laws on sexual assault to basically you could try to bring charges against anybody for shit that happened 60 years ago if you can prove it. So I don't know, man. It kind of sounds like they were like, you were sexually assaulted by Trump. We're going to put you on TV. And she went on TV and put her foot in her mouth and they were like, there you have it, folks. Presented with no comment. Yeah. Let's go to commercial.
Well, it's not to say that that the only way for a man to abuse a woman is to rape her. You know, there's certainly abusive behavior that can happen that doesn't involve direct, sexual assault. But if
you can fart rape a woman,
but what if one of your parties is saying, well, it wasn't really rape? Well, then it sounds like it's none of my business, right?
That's what I said. Is she saying sexually assault? I mean, because like if her accusation was he came up to take a picture with me and played grab ass, that's sexual assault. That's how I think of sexual assault. If she says I was raped, yeah, I'm picturing a rape. Like,
But she's not.
She's saying no, and he's going, I'm not stopping. And so if she's not saying that happened, then yeah, I don't know. Now we're almost parsing language here. I guess it's just sexual assault. I mean, not just, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. This is how come no one gives a shit. It's not easily digestible. I want Mueller to testify about this and explain this shit to me. now.
Oh, Christ.
Right. Well, that's the equivalent of like if Mueller shows up to testify and he's like, look, most Americans think collusion is sexy.
Well,
that's when Anderson Cooper goes, oh, God, what have I done?
Okay, we're going to go to commercial now. Whatever committee he's testifying in front of. C-SPAN, we're going to commercial now. We'll be right back. 2 and 2.
And for what it's worth, she had a book come out on Tuesday. So there's that element of it, too.
Is the whole book about the incident?
Nope.
Then what is the book about? Is she a novelist?
Oh, it is. She's a columnist for Elle, and it does have quite the obnoxious title. Hold on here. What do we need men for? A Modest Proposal is the name of her book.
All right. To pick up the check. Bye, bitch.
Yeah.
There you go. That's.
You know how you got here? There's that. It takes a sperm and an egg, so we're at least useful in one department, lady.
I don't know. What do we need men for? I just send her to family court. Go, I don't know. Pose that question to all these women petitioning their ex-husbands for more money. You tell me. What do they need men for?
But yeah, I just when we brought up the decline of journalism, it's just I wanted to bring that up because it seemed nobody vetted her before they put her on TV or published her story.
Well, if she's a journalist at Elle, I mean, I don't think any of us have a subscription or ever have had a subscription to Elle. I don't think of Elle as hard-hitting journalism, so I shudder to call her a journalist, so I'm going to say columnist. I'm sorry.
You can't tell where the good stories are going to come from these days, though. I know I'm serious. The journalism is so fragmented that, yeah, I mean, one of the Teen Vogue has been doing investigative journalism pieces, not just opinion pieces.
Teen Vogue.
About
on what? Where was your prom dress really made?
No, about LGBTQ issues, about immigration, about the president.
Cool.
Well, there you go. I guess Trump is good for something because I highly doubt that if we had just boring old milquetoast, run-of-the-mill politician in there, that Teen Vogue would be trying to push political issues on their readers. It would definitely probably be more of what I don't even know Cardi B had for lunch or some shit, whatever the fuck. Celebrities just like us, whatever the fuck they do in Teen Vogue. Because I think a Teen Vogue is the same as remember Hit Parader?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like magazines for kids who just ooh, look, pictures of my rock and roll heroes. I could pull out and hang on the wall.
I just keep thinking of Dave Chappelle with 10 Ways to Please Your Man by some lady.
You know what? That's a good point.
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.
Everyone shouts about how fast their broadband is.
We're fast, mega fast, stupid fast, almost too fast.
But what do they say about reliability? Well, Dublin, with Virgin Media, you get both. Ireland's fastest broadband network and 99.9% network reliability. Reliability at speed. See virginmedia.ie.
Terms and conditions apply. Ireland's fastest broadband network as awarded by Ookla. Network reliability. See virginmedia.ie/proof.
Our business needs vans, lots of vans, and Europcar meets our day-to-day needs all across the country, providing our company with the ideal selection of small, medium or large vans and trucks, and even bespoke commercial vehicles delivered directly to our premises.
From our 22 nationwide locations, Europcar supplies Irish businesses with an unrivaled range of vans, 4x4 pickups, 4-seater commercial SUVs and double cab tippers. With 9,000 vehicles in our fleet, there's no demand we can't fulfill. Europcar, moving your way.
Everyone shouts about how fast their broadband is.
We're fast, mega fast, stupid fast, almost too fast.
But what do they say about reliability? Well, Dublin, with Virgin Media, you get both. Ireland's fastest broadband network and 99.9% network reliability. Reliability at speed. See virginmedia.ie.
Terms and conditions apply. Ireland's fastest broadband network as awarded by Ookla. Network reliability. See virginmedia.ie/proof.
ChristopherMedia.net. Unregimented.
Dan Savage was on Bill Maher recently, and I was thinking, like, why don't he write 10 Ways to Please Your Man? He would know better. One, he's a guy. Two, I'm sure Dan Savage has had more than one sexual partner. So why are women taking advice from other women? Take it from gay guys. They have all the equipment and they've done it all.
Or perhaps a straight guy.
Well, no, you can't do that. Because,
Did you see Dan Savage on the last Bill Maher?
Yeah.
He was great. He's like, I'm not going to shit on, what was it? Seattleites, I think they were talking about. He's like, I've stuck a lot of dick in Seattle. I'm not going to talk bad about those people.
I think my favorite part of when he was on was when the doctor was on talking about how hormone therapy can shrink your genitals. And Bill Maher goes, then you're gay with a tiny dick. And Dan Savage just starts shaking his head like, and Bill Maher looks at him like, that's not good, is that? And it's like, really? It's like if there was one black guy in the panel and someone brought up hip hop and the whole panel turned and looked to him. So what does Dr. Dre, what is he really like? What do you think? We all know each other? What the fuck are you asking me for?
Right. But I loved what Dan Savage had to say about his son, because there's a whole idea of like, when should you start allowing your child to change their body in certain ways, not just change the way that they dress, but actually like take hormone therapy at young ages. And and Dan Savage admitted that he's taken a lot of criticism for his stance, but being raised by two gay men and those, being the only parents that you have to look up to at a rather young age, their son came to them and said, Dad, I'm gay. And they're like, that's great. But you're like
9.
11. Yeah, I think it was 9. Yeah, you're 9 and you've got a lot more life to live. Let's see where this goes. You don't discourage, you don't necessarily encourage to
do good. Let's take you window treatment shopping and get you some musicals on soundtracks. Yeah, no.
Right. Because imagine if
we talked about this on Sporgy, and I was shocked that he took the essentially, wait and see, because ultimately at the end of the day, they are children.
Yes.
Like they're little kids. Little kids are like tape recorders. Anyone who's a parent knows this. Once they hit a certain age, they repeat every fucking thing they see and hear.
Learn that with my nephew
imagine
at an
what the
early
response
age.
would be. But what if this child came out to his parents at 9, says I'm gay, and both of his dad started dancing in front of him?
Well,
like you would then feel like, oh, this is it. Like me being gay is a stronger connection to my parents, and that person might get eventually in a situation where they're either confused or living a lie and telling their parents one thing and then fucking girls on the side.
Or worse yet, not being gay and then finding themselves at like 14 eye to eye with a dick. Just going, do I really want to suck this? Right. Do I need my daddy's approval that much?
And there's too many parents out there. I mean, like straight parents who are like, their kids come out at this young age and they're immediately, oh, great, we're going shoe shopping. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't encourage your kids to both be. I don't want to use words like curious and explore, because we when using that in this kind of sexual context, it has a meaning that I don't intend. But that's essentially what I'm talking about. You have a young plastic mind, and you want to encourage that person to be whatever it is that they want to be, right? You don't want to block off paths and say you can't be this, you shouldn't be that. And in the same respect, you don't want to necessarily jump all over everything and over-encourage them in ways where now they think, well, okay, so I said I wanted to learn guitar, right? And then my dad said, "Oh, great. Now we're going to spend so much time together, you and me playing guitar. I'm going to teach you." And then now, even if you're not into playing guitar, you feel like you can't just back down from that, because then you're turning your own parent away. Right? So you want to have, it's like the same way that you want to handle anything that your kids. My daughter said that I think I've shared this on the show before too. My daughter just recently turned 13. When she was like 11, she came to her mother and said that she might be gay. And thankfully, her mother handled it in much the way Dan Savage did. And it was just like, there's a whole world of things that you don't know about in the world and about yourself yet that you're going to find out. You know, you're working with limited information is essentially what you should be telling your kids.
Yeah.
About anything, really. That, like, I encourage you to explore, but understand that you don't know. There's a lot you don't know, and there's a lot that you're going to find out, especially in the near future.
To me, it's just so weird to encourage like my kid's sexuality whatsoever, no matter what it is. Like encourage, like it's just, to me, it's like, hey, Dad, I'm gay. Okay. Hey, Dad, I'm straight. Okay. Hey, Dad, I don't know what the fuck I am. Okay. Welcome. Guess what? Welcome to what a lot of people go through. And believe me,
it's kind of like, what does this matter? I mean, are you going to start, like, if you want to tell me about people that you're having sex with? No, like, we're not going to have this conversation. So why is it even important to me to know what my child's sexuality is?
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, it's nothing. Doesn't exist, right?
Well, I mean, I'm not like on that type of shit where I'm like, you know, my child will be a virgin until she's 30. No, but it's none of your business. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like seriously, if my daughter had come to me at 15 and was like, "Hey, look, I'm sexually active," I'd be like, first of all, we got to get you to the clinic and get you on some birth control. Second of all, I don't want to know the details no more than you want to know the details of what me and your mother did to bring you here. All right, so. We're going to quote Bad Boys 2. We're going to take you not being a virgin and you having sex and the details that go along with it and put it in a little box, and we're going to throw it deep in the ocean. And I, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not that, you know, I don't care. I mean, that's something I've never understood. How you could just, I mean, this is a totally different story, but people that just completely write off their children because of who they are sexually attracted to. It's like if you're going to do something that drastic and traumatizing to a child and not a child, it's traumatizing when parents tell adult children, "I don't want anything to do with you." It better be over something a lot better than I'm sexually attracted to the same sex. Like you're going to have to tell me, like, "Dad, I do some Jeffrey Dahmer type shit." And it's like, okay. All right, well, I'll call you a lawyer, but don't expect a lot of visits in prison. You know, like I don't know. It's just very strange. And I
remember those holes you helped me dig.
Is that how come I've been finding dead rabbits out back? But no, I was really surprised when Dan Savage said that, and I was like, you know what? Good. I'm glad that someone who's not straight, white, and a male. I mean, he checks 2 of those boxes, but he's not straight. That's the important. Said that because that's common fucking sense. That's going with what science and logic and reason has dictated to us. Don't start giving a 9-year-old who tells you something hormones that are going to permanently change that child for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Based on something they said on a whim because they heard it on Teen Disney or some shit.
Or even these drag queen parents. And this is these kids are responding to the attention that they're getting. That's what they're responding to. They're not feeling their inner selves. They're not expressing something that comes from inside them. They're responding to culture, and they're responding to the positive attention that they're getting.
You know, I took a tongue lashing from a coworker because I wasn't down with. She specifically brought up like drag queen beauty pageants for like young kids. And what she didn't hear that I clearly told her was the first part of what I'm about to say, which was, I'm not with any beauty pageants for any fucking children. Why are we having beauty pageants for children, painting them up and dressing them up like adults?
Yes, and that's disturbing in the first place. Yes.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It's sexualizing of children.
Yes.
And so is the drag queen shit.
Guys, let me ask you a question. If someone emailed the podcast's email address and said, I've got 3 front row seats for the Little Miss Michigan beauty pageant, none of us would take them up on that offer. We'd be like, then give them to somebody else. Because you know who's in the front row at the beauty pageants? Parents and child molesters. That's it.
Yeah, you obviously don't listen to the show that closely. Thanks for the offer.
It's just like, you know what they call the seats right by the stage at the strip club? Pervert row. That's what they should call the front row at these child beauty pageants, drag or not.
But not all drag is about sex, Rich. Right. And sometimes you read Playboy for an article or two. It happens.
Yeah, after I'm done nutting.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
I've read the comment section at Pornhub is one of the chillest places on the internet, and I'm convinced it's because everybody just got their nut. You know what I'm saying? It's just they're like,
that's a sound theory.
They're like, I'm not really that angry right now. I have a 5-minute window where I'm cool with whatever.
It's hard to be pissed in your refractory period.
You know, like when I see angry comments like at Pornhub or one of those like places they have videos in a comment section, which is the weirdest thing to me. Why are you commenting on a porn video?
Yeah.
That's like the share button. What am I going to share this to Facebook? Oh, my grandmother really needs to know what type of porn I beat off. Put this on Facebook. What the fuck? But when I do see people going at each other, I'm thinking, what are you, impotent? Like, did you not get off? Like, what the fuck? Anyways, yeah, I've never understood the point of dressing a child up and painting them with makeup and putting them in high heels and all that crap, whether it be drag or straight beauty pageants. I don't even understand the point of beauty pageants as adults. Like, let's just take all this bullshit pretense out of it and just go to the strip club. Because if you're watching Miss America, it's not because you want to see how talented they are.
Oh, they got rid of the swimsuit competition, Rich.
And I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I've never been less interested in a group of people than those involved in all aspects of any kind of beauty pageant.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about the swimsuit issue.
I don't want to be in the audience. I don't want to judge. I don't care who wins. I don't feel any particular pride when somebody from Michigan wins some kind of beauty prize. Oh, look. Oh, yeah. We make them beautiful here in Michigan, don't we? That's perfect. That's the water. It's all the water and the scent of pine in the air, I guess.
Yeah, lead does a body good.
Yes, it's the lead.
Yeah, I say this I have a family member who did do the Miss Teen thing. To this day, I don't know why. I've never really asked her about it because, just to be brutally honest, she's older than me, and anytime it's brought up, she seems rather embarrassed about it. So I'm wondering if it's one of those things like she was doing it for somebody else, and now she looks back on it and goes, well, that was stupid. Let's just act like that didn't happen. You know, it's kind of like if you go
box in the ocean.
Maybe somebody else, or maybe it's just you realize that you're doing it for attention, and then realize you didn't like the type of attention that you were getting.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different reasons, but it's like if you went through a cowboy boot phase in high school, you really wouldn't want that brought up at the reunion. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. You wear snakeskin cowboy boots to school? Thank you for bringing that up, asshole.
I had a mullet in high school. It's not what I lead with on a first date. I did tell my daughter that, though, today, and she's like, why? Like, why did you have a mullet?
Because it started with it's 1980 something. That's why.
No, I can speak to this one, Aaron. That's when you point to her mismatched socks and go, you're going to ask yourself that question in 20 years about those socks. Trust me. You're going to be like, why do I have on two different types? Not colors. It's not like it made the outfit pop. It was just two separate socks. And she's like, I just like them. I like designs on both. It's like, Then wear one today and one tomorrow. You know.
I am married to a 43-year-old woman who still does that. Just putting that out there.
I didn't tell her that I had 2 different mullets in my lifetime. One pure of heart and the other ironic.
The Jeff Tremaine mullet. the Jackass Crew mullet. That's the ironic one.
Yeah.
And oh God, I'm going to embarrass my brother, but he doesn't listen to this show. His mother cut his hair until a mullet until he was about 10. That poor kid. And I'm looking at my stepmother going, why are you doing this to this boy? Like he's going to hit 15 and he's going to burn every picture you have of him from birth to 10 years old. You know this, right? Like,
I even, I turned mine into a rat tail for the summer too.
Oh God. Well, your shit was wicked gnarly, man. Oh, Christ.
Oh. That's what buying Poison albums does to you.
Oh, wait a minute.
See? Told you they suck.
That is more damning than a mullet. You owned a Poison album?
Oh.
You?
Sure.
Oh. Did you follow him really on tour during their Richie Kotzen fucking
He enthusiastically owned Poison albums.
BMG Record Club member.
I think everybody was, because you just send a penny in and be like, fuck my credit rating. I'm 15. I don't give a shit.
Right.
I just got 12 CDs for a penny.
Yeah. You're the idiot who gave credit to a teenager.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you brought the snake into your house.
You knew where you bought that shirt. The damn sure wasn't the men's department.
Yeah. All right.
Well, do we want to wrap it up or do we want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. See, and then on a good note, mullets and Columbia House, right? So
metal and mullets. That's how we were raised.
Yeah, kind of true. So, thanks for listening. And a lot of people listening might have also been raised on metal and mullets. And we thank you for listening. We're on Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, ChristopherMedia.net. Pretty much anywhere you listen to a podcast, you can check us out.
iHeartRadio.
What's that?
iHeartRadio.
Yes, iHeartRadio. I keep forgetting about it because it's new. The iHeartRadio app. We're on there. And rate us, too. I noticed I started asking for ratings, and we got some ratings. So I'm going to keep asking for ratings. Please rate us wherever you can rate us.
It helps tremendously to spread the word.
Yes. And let people know that, quite honestly, the show doesn't suck. We're on Twitter.
It's going to be all our ratings. Well, should you listen to this podcast? Answer. Well, they don't suck.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You set low expectations. It's easy to exceed them, right? But we're on Twitter at UnregimentedPod. You can email us, unregimented@ChristopherMedia.net. Check us out every Saturday. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Later, guys. Oh shit! Seriously, you did own Poison albums?
What? Yeah.
I can't believe that.
White Lion.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Winger,
god.
Warrant.
I cannot picture you
Guns N'
rocking
Roses.
out to wait. I didn't get a chance to love you, or whatever the fuck he says. I would think like maybe Skid Row's second album would be as deep down that rabbit hole as you would go.
I had that, yeah.
Like Slave to the Grind, I was like, there's a couple all right songs on there. Like the rest of
Monkey
it,
Business.
I mean,
this is just a jam.
I had some Metallica and some Megadeth and some Anthrax too.
To me, there's a very clear line of demarcation between Warrant, Poison, Slaughter, that type shit, and the metal bands you just named.
Yes.
Like, one wears makeup, one wears denim. You know what I'm saying? One likes Judas Priest for the music, the other likes Judas Priest to take their fashion sense from.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I mean, to this day, I don't mind Rat. I never owned an album. I think
I had some Rat albums. I went and saw my first concert was Motley Crue.
Oh, you did tell me that.
Yeah.
That would have been mine, but my stepbrother, my mom wouldn't let me go with him.
Gentlemen, this is where our age differences show up, because I've told Aaron this before. If some mysterious fire happened and all of the master tapes from the 80s were lost, I would not care.
I'm trying to think of the most like cock rock hair metal album I had, and I think it's probably,
for me, I get two of them. Skid Row's first one and Dr. Feelgood. It's all I ever owned as far as hair rock.
Now, if we're talking as a gift, my stepbrother gave me Dr. Feelgood, and I was like, okay, thanks. It was like a Christmas gift, and I was like, thanks. It was like they were out of socks at Kmart. You know, like, you don't know me at all, do you? But yeah, it'd have to be like a Rat album, or like, to this day, I don't mind Extreme. Would you consider Queensryche cock rock?
Oh yeah.
Okay, then the Empire album.
Well, to me, because it's not so much the subject matter too; it's the sound. You know, with the high vocals,
that's
intricate guitar work.
See, that's how come Empire I like better than Operation Mindcrime, because Operation Mindcrime, I can't remember the lead singer's name, but he got into some type shit a little too much for me. Yes, Jeff Tate. Jeff with a G.
The only Queensryche song I actually like is Empire.
But yeah, the Empire album, Jet City Woman, Empire, Silent Lucidity, I was like, okay, I can get with this. There's not that operatic. It's why I could never get into Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden, the operatic Bruce Dickinson, you know, run to the hill. I'm like,
thank you.
Can't do that, dude.
Yeah.
Even Pantera's first album, half that I can't listen to.
Oh yeah, when you had the tape, the first. Now, are you talking about Cowboys from Hell, or the one where he was still Diamond Daryl?
That's Cowboys from Hell. He didn't go to Dimebag until Far Beyond Driven.
No, there's an album before Cowboys from Hell. Have you ever heard it?
Power Metal.
Yeah. Oof.
It's a deleted album. It's supposed to be an album not available anywhere, but I knew where Rock of Ages was at, so I got all the bootleg shit.
Yeah.
I went in there and I was like, hey, started talking to the guy, and I was like, you know, Pantera, and he just got this smile on his face, and he goes, you ever heard Pantera's first album, like Cowboys from Hell? Yeah. He's like, no, listen to this.
Yeah.
And then he handed me the cassette, and I'm looking at it, and I'm going, no, you sit on a throne of lies.
Yeah. But I'm with you with Cowboys from Hell. A-side, awesome. B-side, garbage.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of that glam metal stuff obviously didn't stick with me, but a lot of that was my peer group. You know, the only things that I can think of that I listened to like over and over and over again, or I damn near wore out tape copies of Appetite for Destruction, Lies, and Justice for All, Master of Puppets. You know, the stuff that
still holds up.
The rest of the stuff was all kind of peripheral. You know, it was fun music. But yeah,
Hey, you were 12 and 88. You know, I can't fault you.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point I knew the whole Scat Cat rap on on
shit.
2 Steps Forward or whatever.
The Paula Abdul song.
Yeah. So.
Dude, no. I'm sitting driving to work the other day and 104.3's turned into the 80s oldies station.
Oh, shit.
And they were playing, it was one of the like lesser hits for Paula Abdul, but it was maybe Cold Hearted
Snake.
Yeah, the video where they were all like,
he don't play by rules, no.
Yeah. And the video was like softcore porn for me at that age.
Oh yeah.
Boy, play.
And I was like, I know this, like I know the ins and outs of this song because I never owned the tape or nothing, but I heard it so much, and I'm like, and I'm not changing the station, and I don't know why. Fuck.
we all went to the skating rink.
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.
After a great start to the Euro 2020 qualifiers, the Republic of Ireland look to continue their 100% home record as they take on Switzerland on Thursday, September 5th at Aviva Stadium. Then on Tuesday, September 10th, we go again at Aviva for the 3 international friendly versus Bulgaria. Kick-off for both games 7:45. Show your support for the boys in green this September. Tickets on sale now starting at €20 from fai.ie/tickets. Booking fee applies.
Sometimes you've just got to get some quality me time. Like right now, when you get away for a few hours to Kildare Village, because we've got hundreds of new arrivals, including new boutiques like Sandro and Maj. Escape to Kildare Village and get front row ready for a new season with a new look and a new smile on your face. A little me time goes a long way at Kildare Village, where there's something extraordinary every day.
ChristopherMedia.net. If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Hot flashes, irritability, intimate dryness, even unsatisfying sex. Hi, I'm Dr. Alyssa Dweck, a board-certified OBGYN who has spent over 20 years helping women just like you safely find relief from these very natural symptoms without having to resort to hormones. To help my patients feel their best, I recommend products from Bonafide Health. Bonafide is a women's health company dedicated to providing women with non-hormonal and clinically validated products that work. Bonafide provides safe and effective solutions to manage a range of menopausal, sexual health, and PMS-related symptoms. That's why I recommend Bonafide products to my patients every day. In fact, I am also a Bonafide medical advisor. What I like most is that Bonafide products provide women real relief without compromise. Ladies, don't waste another minute feeling less than your best. Go to hellobonafide.com and use code radio39 to save 20%. That's hellobonafide.com and code radio39.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Offer valid on subscription only.
When we made our new McDonald's Spicy Chicken McNuggets, you were praise hands emoji. Then we ran out, and you were screaming tears emoji. Now they're back, so you can be grinning face with sweat emoji. Order ahead on the McDonald's app.
For a limited time at participating McDonald's.